The Mandalorian and Grogu is one of the most anticipated theatrical releases in the galaxy far, far away, bringing together everything fans love about the Star Wars universe. What began as a streaming sensation has now reached the big screen with a fully cinematic story that blends heart, spectacle, and the timeless struggle between light and dark. This new chapter is designed to stand on its own while continuing the journeys of Din Djarin and his young companion Grogu, taking their bond into uncharted territory. With theaters set to showcase it worldwide on May 22, 2026, the project has become a cultural event years before its release, sparking conversations across fans of all generations. At its core, this film is more than another expansion of the Star Wars saga. It is an exploration of loyalty, sacrifice, and the meaning of family in a universe teetering between order and chaos. The cast brings back familiar faces who have already left an indelible mark on viewers. Pedro Pascal reprises his role as Din Djarin, delivering the same quiet intensity and stoic presence that made The Mandalorian one of the most compelling anti-heroes in recent memory. His performance is complemented by the return of Grogu, not voiced in traditional ways, but portrayed with even greater emotion and depth through state-of-the-art puppetry and visual effects. Supporting Pascal are actors from the Star Wars legacy and new additions alike. Giancarlo Esposito once again embodies the cold menace of Moff Gideon, whose shadow lingers even after his downfall, hinting at unfinished business that will play into the larger plot. Carl Weathers returns as Grief Karga, bringing wisdom, authority, and loyalty to the story. Katee Sackhoff steps back into the armor of Bo-Katan Kryze, her arc continuing as she wrestles with the weight of Mandalore's restoration. Alongside them are new characters brought to life by actors who inject fresh energy into the saga, including a mysterious warlord played by a yet-to-be-revealed star, whose presence is said to be central to the conflict. The cast list is rounded out by allies, rogues, and enemies, forming a sprawling ensemble that ties together multiple threads of the galaxy. The plot builds on the threads left open in earlier adventures while creating an entirely self-contained cinematic journey. Din Djarin has chosen a life of guardianship, fully embracing Grogu not as a foundling to be passed along, but as a son he has sworn to protect. Together, they travel the galaxy searching for stability, but as is always the case in Star Wars, peace proves fleeting. A new threat rises from the shadows of the fallen empire, one that seeks not only to reclaim power, but to manipulate the ancient bonds of Mandalore itself. This enemy is less about brute force and more about ideology, seeking to bend Mandalorian culture into a weapon of tyranny. Din finds himself torn between his duty to protect Grogu and his responsibility to Mandalore's legacy, especially as Bo-Katan pushes him to recognize the role he plays in their people's survival. Grogu's path, meanwhile, is equally important. His connection to the Force continues to grow, and the galaxy begins to whisper of the child with untold potential. The conflict is not just external but deeply personal. Din struggles with the weight of fatherhood, his own trauma as an orphan, and his refusal to remove his helmet in the presence of others. His devotion to Grogu is absolute, yet it challenges his understanding of what it means to be Mandalorian. Bo-Katan, on the other hand, embodies the pragmatic struggle of leadership, pushing against Din's reluctance to step into greater responsibility. Their dynamic is marked by respect, but also tension, forcing them both to reconsider their destinies. Grogu, as the emotional heart of the film, represents innocence tested by war. The Force manifests in him more frequently, sometimes in ways he cannot control, creating both awe and fear in those around him. The film does not shy away from showing the burden of his gifts, with moments that hint at choices he will one day need to make about light and darkness. The action sequences are choreographed on a scale worthy of the big screen. The trailers showcase aerial battles featuring Mandalorian jetpacks clashing with fleets of TIE fighters, desert ambushes where Din wields the darksaber in desperate combat, and Grogu intervening with bursts of Force energy that save his father in moments of near death. Entire planets are brought to life in vivid detail, from the neon-lit underworld of a criminal-ridden city to the ruined halls of Mandalore, where secrets of the past echo through the stone. Unlike smaller episodes confined to streaming, this film embraces scope, giving audiences breathtaking visuals that honor the cinematic traditions of Star Wars while carving out something new. Emotion drives the spectacle, making every battle and chase scene more than just spectacle. One of the central arcs involves Din teaching Grogu about what it means to be Mandalorian, not through creed alone, but through action and sacrifice. A quiet moment in the trailer shows Din handing Grogu a piece of Beskar armor, scaled perfectly for his small frame, symbolizing his acceptance as a true Mandalorian foundling. This gesture is contrasted later with Grogu using the Force to save Din's life, a reminder that their bond is not one-sided, but reciprocal. The theme of family becomes the film's anchor, reminding viewers that found families can be as powerful, if not more so, than those bound by blood. The villains are equally layered, not simply repeating the archetypes of the past. The mysterious warlord central to the plot views Mandalore's fractured clans as an opportunity to consolidate power, exploiting divisions while presenting himself as a unifier. His ideology resonates with some Mandalorians, creating civil strife that Din and Bo-Katan must confront. Moff Gideon's shadow looms as well, whether through his surviving allies, remnants of his command, or his direct return remains ambiguous, but his influence is undeniable. These villains are not faceless adversaries, but embodiments of the galaxy's cycle of oppression, corruption, and the constant threat of tyranny. Their clash with Din and Grogu elevates the stakes, making this not only a battle for survival, but for the soul of Mandalorian identity itself. The cinematography amplifies the film's scale. Sweeping shots of twin suns setting over war-torn landscapes evoke the grandeur of classic Star Wars, while close-ups of Din and Grogu emphasize intimacy amidst chaos. The score resonates with powerful new themes woven with the familiar Mandalorian motif, expanding the emotional palette of the saga. Sound design enhances everything from the ignition of the darksaber to the hum of Grogu's Force energy, creating a theater experience that feels alive. The film's blending of practical effects and digital wizardry ensures authenticity. Every explosion, every starship, and every blaster fight feels grounded in physical weight, keeping audiences immersed in this galaxy. The release date of May 22, 2026, positions it as a major summer blockbuster, a statement that Star Wars is returning to theaters with full force. The date itself has become part of the anticipation, with fans counting down not just to another adventure, but to the promise of seeing Din and Grogu's story reach new heights in a format that allows every detail to shine. This is not a continuation meant only for longtime fans, but an entry point for newcomers as well, weaving together the accessibility of a standalone film with the richness of a saga decades in the making. The trailer serves as a tantalizing glimpse into the story without giving away its secrets. It opens with the hum of the darksaber in darkness, followed by Din's voice uttering words of promise and duty. Quick flashes reveal Grogu's growing mastery of the Force, Mandalorian warriors preparing for battle, and fleets emerging from hyperspace. The music builds with drums and brass, swelling as action sequences unfold. Jetpacks ignite, lights flash across barren deserts, and Grogu uses the Force to halt a charging beast twice his size. A softer moment interrupts the chaos, showing Din kneeling to Grogu, telling him that wherever he goes, the child goes too. The trailer then crescendos with a massive battle on Mandalore itself, ending with Grogu reaching out through the Force as the screen cuts to black and the title appears, The Mandalorian and Grogu. The release date glows beneath it, locking in the promise of May 22, 2026. This film is more than just another Star Wars story. It is the culmination of a journey that began with a lone bounty hunter and a child in a floating pod, now evolved into a tale about fatherhood, heritage, and the future of a galaxy scarred by war. It captures the intimacy of their bond while expanding the scale to galactic proportions, offering audiences an experience that is both deeply personal and universally thrilling. By the time the credits roll, viewers will have witnessed not only battles and betrayals, but the strengthening of a family forged in fire. The Mandalorian and Grogu is destined to be remembered as the moment the saga embraced both legacy and renewal, reminding audiences why stories from a galaxy far, far away endure across generations.